Hi everyone, welcome to this reading. So we are out in a different room, so if you hear the dogs, that's what it is. It's not like gnomes or anything back there. All right, I don't have my crystal ball out here, so I'm going to use the glass on an apple cider vinegar bottle because this is how we roll. We're just going to dive right into it. Okay. Taking a step aside and allowing spirit to pass through me. Opening up to receive information. Okay, so right off the bat inside the glass, what I'm seeing is I'm seeing this, it's almost like this, it's like a dragon unfolding, and in my mind's eye as it's unfolding, I'm seeing like the inner child. So I've talked about that before on this channel. Of course, they get the zoomies now. I've talked about this before on this channel, how our shadow is the protector of the inner child, and our inner child representing those vulnerable spaces, and if it's an unhealed inner child, then those wounded spaces, and how the dragon will try to protect that space from others. The problem is that the dragon isn't the best judge of when to do that, right? So it tends to be caused and fueled by the inner child's perception of things. So somebody here, there's a lot of energy that's going on right now. It may be a lot of emotional energy that's taking place. It may be a lot of what we consider negative or darker emotions that are taking place. Okay, and I'm seeing this inner child. She's handing me keys. And so this is like the power to loose and the power to bind. The words that we use, the way that we use them, what we choose to say, what we understand we don't need to say, how we react, how we shouldn't react. All those things are wrapped up inside of those keys, unlocking an aspect of ourself. And it goes a little deeper than that. Right now inside this energy, it feels a little bit like there's an emotion being unlocked for somebody that they haven't really felt before. Okay. Now I'm seeing an acorn. An acorn can be the seed of potential. However, I see this acorn in a hand, so it's not even something that's been placed. It's not something that's growing right now. It's dormant potential. Okay. We're going to take 3 cards from the Blue Angel Oracle. Somebody here feels a little bit like they're lost at sea. This might mean that you feel completely isolated and alone, like you would be if you were out at sea. This might mean that you just don't feel like you know where you're going with your life. So here we have that with this card here, the Blue Angel, or Blue Earth Angel. I'm being drawn to the man that's on this card, who's standing right in the middle of, it's supposed to be the sky or like different layers, and it looks like the ocean to me. It looks like the ocean is viewed from like an airplane, for example. So this person is very much alone, and they are quite possibly trying to consult like their higher self or some guides or spirit or God, whatever. And it feels a little bit like this individual feels a little cut off from that right now. They feel like something may be blocking that at this time. This moves us over into this. This is the life everlasting. I'm being brought to the 2 worlds. This is reminding me of the 2 of Pentacles, where we're juggling some sort of decisions, or we're teetering on the edge of what we've committed to be, or who we've committed to be, a commitment maybe even, and who we were in the past. And right now it seems like all the energy is centering around the past, the version of ourselves that used to be. And so this may be what's making somebody feel a little lost, or very emotional, or feeling a little bit like negative emotions are coming up, because there seems to be something here that's processing on a very deep level. Our old world is processing, and if you notice, this water is pouring out. It's processing out. So some of you may have had a recent situation that caused you to be extremely emotional. It may just be something that you woke up one day and you just didn't quite feel right. But we're noticing that we're regressing in some way, and it's because we are processing out some sort of energy. Now, the problem here is this. I'm feeling this yellow energy around here is our thoughts. We're choosing to think about this process, right? So our energy goes where our energy goes. Hey, hold on. Thank you. Energy flows where our attention goes, right? So by focusing on this processing never actually ends. It's something that we're refilling, right? So that's just a little bit of a warning for somebody here. If you find that your thoughts are too focused on, you know, this past way of thinking, right? If you made the shift once before, you're able to do it again. Ask yourself, how did I do that? How did I make that shift? What was I doing? You know, what was my self-care routine? What mindset was I in to get myself into this this other world before? This is almost like I'm seeing it as though these two worlds were lined up and then one starts to fall. So for some of you, you may even have a situation where you feel like you're being disconnected from another world or another view of yourself, another version of yourself. I don't know why I said view of yourself, so there may be that. Okay, and then we have this, again, going back to the choice. We have a choice here. And I want to say this. This almost looks like the desert to me. This looks like an ocean that's coming over to cover the desert. We have a choice here when this card shows up. And again, this isn't, you know, I don't always read my oracle deck the way that the book, I haven't even opened up the book for this. I'm not interested in it. I'm gonna let my intuition guide me. So with this is where our emotions are covering over that desert inside of our life. So it can be positive emotions, it can be negative emotions, and we have a choice which one it's going to be. Someone here, because I am seeing this sort of lost and alone sort of energy coming through with this card, we may be in a desert in our lives, meaning we don't have a lot of emotional satisfaction or emotional energy that flows in. And for whatever reason, we seem to subconsciously revert to a state where we allow the negative emotions to be the emotions that fill us, that come in. And you're being asked to release that for this other version of yourself, where it's the positive emotions that you choose to let in. Okay, let's see. This reading almost feels like, hey, friendly reminder, right, from somebody's like guidance. Okay. Yeah. So again, going back to that desert feeling, there is an energy of lack right now that is coming through inside this reading. And this may be something that somebody is very much looking at. When we see the hermit purposely goes out into the desert. So this may be an energy that we're in because we purposely put ourselves there. In this isolation, someone is trying to find their answers, but if you notice, the hermit is not looking up. He's not necessarily looking for the answers that are out there. His eyes are closed and he's looking down at the ground. So the hermit takes a really long time to come to certain decisions or certain understandings. And with this staff, the staff is representing fire, so there is a certain amount of willpower that has navigated us to this place. You may be somebody that has found yourself alone, for example, and the reason why you're alone is because you had to have boundaries and you had to understand that you needed to be alone for a little while in order to love yourself. Others of you, you might just have found yourself alone, right? And this does seem to be something that really bothers somebody here. Now, again, behind that, however, we're very much, like I said with this, we're very much in this energy. And what you're being guided to understand with that acorn especially is that I saw in the beginning, is to understand that what's really happening is this: you're full of potential. When we have a lot of space inside of our lives, there's a lot of potential. There's potential for new things. There's potential for new growth. There's potential for things that actually fill us up. Okay, how do I want to take this? Okay, we have the Knight of Pentacles. Again, like I said, this is really speaking to me about this hermit energy, right? The Knight of Pentacles is very slow, but the Knight of Pentacles creates a very solid beginning, very solid foundations. The thing about the Knight of Pentacles is sometimes the Knight of Pentacles can stifle. And so there may be an element here where this energy, we find that this energy is either stifling our lives or it's stifling others. And when this energy is stifling others, one thing that we tend to focus on is we tend to focus on how we can put armor on ourselves, right? Because that's what the Knight of Pentacles does. He has all that armor on. He has the red on. Red is that color of Mars, right? So when I'm seeing this Knight of Pentacles right now, one of the things that he's offering is he's basically offering some sort of new beginning for somebody in terms of a situation where maybe we've put on our armor or we've prepared for war, right? There is this energy here of the Seven of Swords. So there may be a little element of self-sabotage involved in this. And this is what we find when we have that shadow protecting the inner child. Again, that inner child was holding two keys. And so the first key for me is really the power to loose and the second one is the power to bind. So what are we talking about when we're talking about that? We're talking about a choice. We're talking about the choice to share and the choice to withhold. Sometimes we need to withhold. Sometimes there's too much sharing, and what we wind up doing is we cause that 7 of Cups, which is chaos, confusion, illusions, right? Sometimes we need to understand things for ourselves, and then we have to have the discernment about what to share and what not to share, because we don't need to share it. It belongs to us, right? Sometimes in the oversharing, what we wind up doing is we accidentally cause these situations. So with the 7 of Pentacles, this may also be how much anger you express, or I'm sorry, not 7 of Pentacles, with the what am I going to here? It wasn't the 7 of Pentacles. It was the Choice card. We don't have a 7 of Pentacles. Do we? No. With the Choice card, this can also be how much, with the Shadow and the Child, how much anger we express, how much anger we withhold, how much love we express, how much love we withhold, how much understanding we share, and how much understanding we withhold. There was something here about trying to keep ourselves safe. Again, this is why the inner child is showing up with this dragon energy. There's this huge emphasis on how we try to keep ourselves safe, and how we don't understand how sometimes what that's doing is the exact opposite. And again, that comes down to being able to heal ourselves, right? Being able to mother that inner child and to get out of this state, which is essentially a state of victimization, into this higher vibration where we understand that we don't necessarily have to fear those things because we're in control of keeping ourselves safe. So what we have here also is we have, again, the inner child with the Page of Cups. This is my inner child card. And then we have that stepping into the King of Cups. Someone here is in the process of learning this, of learning how to heal this inner child so that it is essentially, even though it's still an inner child, it behaves more like a King of Cups. It's master of the emotions, right? In this aspect, the inner child is very happy. It wants to play. It has a sunny disposition. It's not necessarily waiting for everyone to hurt it and trying to find out what messed up thing everybody is doing to them. It is trying to enjoy life, and it's trying to have peaceful connections. It's trying to have reciprocal relationships. It's trying to be creative. It's trying to be optimistic. And someone here, you may be struggling with that right now, which is why the dragon and the child are coming up. You want up here? Hold on. She wants up here. Let's go. Whee! Okay. Oh, puppy. You're so small and yet you're so heavy. Okay. There may be some recent heartbreak as well, or a heartbreak that we have yet to process. So the I don't know why I keep wanting to say cups and pentacles and stuff, but there's a 3 of Swords that's showing up here. And this 3 of Swords, in some ways, well, it's sitting to the right of this 7 of Swords. And so in some ways, we may be in charge of causing some of our own heartbreaks. You may be able to look in the past and see that, for example. And we may know that. We may be finding that we're struggling with this and we're not very sure how to get out of it, right? And this is where we have to be patient with ourselves. There's no quick fix for this. The things that we have to process inside of our life, they're going to take the time that they take, and there's nothing in the world that can rush them, right? I always recommend sitting down with a journal and writing things out and really getting to the grit of it and understanding what's taking place. Sometimes doing that can really help. Let's see. I'm being drawn to the King of Cups opposite of the Knight of Pentacles now. And so what this is saying to me is that this is a slow process of emotional maturity, or a slow process of emotional healing, however you want to take it. And in this slow process, there are times when this inner child is going to sabotage us and cause certain heartbreaks, or set us up for certain failures. And this is just part of the process. It really is. It's just part of the process. So if you find yourself in this sort of situation where you're like, man, I kind of shot myself in the foot, or you're realizing, wow, I'm staying in this energy and this is what's causing me to be miserable. Remember, just like it's been coming up recently, the whole process, any process of evolution, any process of growth, it's always 2 steps forward and several steps back, and then a step forward and then a step back. And it does this sort of back and forth before we fully integrate it and move forward. I'm going to say this, some of you, because the choice is has the 3 of Swords on top of it. For some of you, you have to make a difficult decision to quite possibly do something that you know would hurt somebody. So for example, if you're in a relationship that you're not happy with, you might have to make a very difficult decision here. Some of you, you have to make a choice about something that is actually hurting you. So, okay, let's see. We have the King of Pentacles, okay? And the Emperor with the Moon on the bottom. So I'm going to talk about this real fast. And notice that the star is underneath the moon here, so that's good. This is some sort of liberation, some sort of like flushing out of the old that's taking place. When we have the moon card, one of the things that's happening is you see that crustacean coming out of the water. And this is a card of Pisces. And this creature rides off into the road, goes to the neighboring city, and becomes the death card. It evolves into death, which is Scorpio, and it lays waste to everything that was of the old order. Someone here, you're not there yet, but you're about to be, right? This time of tumultuous emotion, it looks like the time that is marking the beginning of when we are moving from the Page of Cups into the King of Cups, and something is about to transform. So if you're struggling with this and you're struggling with reverting to an old emotional pattern, an old way of thinking, an old way of, again, like I said, the way that it struck me at first was a little bit, it was a little bit of sitting in a victimization role. Just understand that that will transform, right? You're aware of it, you're working through it, that will transform. This is something here with the King of Pentacles. This is something that we're about to integrate. We're about to integrate a fuller understanding of why this process happens, why it's happening to us, and what we can do about it. And it's sitting opposite of the Emperor, which is over here by the Five of Pentacles and the choice. There's some sort of choice that's going to be made here shortly. It's how it feels very shortly. That is really part of our self-sovereignty. It's us exerting our control over the reality that we're experiencing, and it has something to do with wrapping up this energy. So this lack that's inside, right? The spaces inside of ourselves where we don't feel like we have enough, or we don't have anything to offer, or we're not good enough. This is something that currently, like I said, the Hermit is going in and looking at. You may not be able to find the answer now. You may not even be able to see this space just yet, but you can feel it, right? It feels like that desert. This Hermit is still looking down. Eventually, this Hermit's neck gets tired and he looks back up. And when he looks back up, he sees the very thing that he was looking for. Two cards. Okay, bottom of the deck, we have the Queen of Wands. I love that this is the energy for the last few cards. Oh, yes, okay, these two. Right now, there may be a conflict. And with this conflict, there may be a sense of waiting, or waiting to see what grows after this conflict. So if you are emotional right now, this may be the cause. For some of you, this is an external conflict. For some of you, this is a conflict within yourself, especially regarding that choice. This energy here, this goes back to this Emperor. The Emperor is really speaking to this waiting, right? Do we wait? Do we exert our own? Yeah, it does feel like that. It feels a little bit like having the power to loosen the power of mind. It feels a little bit like the Emperor in this context is speaking about having your own making space, right? Like not feeling like you have to chase after something or you have to rush something. It feels a little bit like exerting control over your own energy and your own emotions in order to see how things transpire. When we have this sort of internal conflict taking place and we're watching to see what's growing, the conflict is part of the process. It's part of the process of something new emerging. If you have conflict inside of your life, outside of you, this is where the most beautiful spaces of ourself have the ability to emerge. If we're able to parent that inner child, right? We have these three very mature people showing up. And then we have the Queen of Wands. Let me just take the Queen of Wands. We'll talk about her. When we have this sort of parenting the inner child, so you notice that you feel away, you notice that you're feeling really vulnerable, you notice that you're feeling really insecure, you notice that you're feeling a lot of lack. It's our responsibility to sit with ourselves and fill that up, right? And again, second time in this video, we're going back to the journaling. This is where journaling can be really handy, right? We can write those things out and then we can fill ourselves up in that space. We can sit with ourselves and feel love and then give that love back to ourselves. All the different things that we need to do to reparent ourselves, right? Maybe your inner child wants to go out for a freaking ice cream, take it for an ice cream. Doing different things that we need to do in order to make ourselves feel happy and make ourselves feel like we're whole and complete. This happens in very different ways for everybody. Some people, maybe you love to sing as a child and you have to go take vocal lessons or go put yourself on YouTube singing. For some people, you might be somebody that always really like to be out in nature, then going backpacking here as the weather's warming up. You might be the type of person who you really lacked attention. And so sitting in a space and giving yourself that attention and just like holding yourself even is all the part of the process of giving attention to that inner child. Someone's inner child here is in control right now, and the inner child cannot be in control when it's wounded, right? If the inner child, when it's wounded, is exactly how people lose control. And so that's part of the conflict that's taking place here. One of the things that we have to switch is waiting around for things to happen for us, right? Good things to happen for us. And we have to move into the energy of the Queen of Wands. Consider her the mother of the inner child, right? She has this shadowy cat over here. This is the Witch of the Tarot. She knows exactly what she wants. She knows exactly how to create it. She has the emblem of the sun there. The sun is surrounded by sunflowers inside of the deck, the tarot deck, and she has one, linking her back to the sun card. So in some ways, she is the mother of the sun. She's the mother of that magical energy that gives life. So this message is really saying that for whoever this message is for, if you find yourself slipping into a victim mentality, if you find yourself slipping back into more negative states or states that you used to be in, it's a good idea to take a moment to take your attention off of the fact that, this is happening, and digging into a particular hole with it, as we were saying here, covering it over with negative emotions rather than positive ones, and sitting down and allowing yourself to isolate the feeling, right? The actual feeling that you're having, and then maybe even write out, like, how do I feel this for myself? What things would make this feel better for me? Sometimes when we're just sitting around and we're thinking about it, we're not going to come up with anything. It's amazing how writing it out will actually help. So this is why I always recommend it. But just sitting with yourself and taking some space to really give yourself love. Bottom of the deck, it's this Queen of Cups. This is the lesson. It's a lesson in self-love. That's the whole point. So allowing yourself to give that inner child that sort of self-love here, this is one way that you're going to overturn that energy. For some of you, for this to come up, it may be an energy of wanting to win at all costs, or feeling like, I have to prove this person wrong, or I have to, whatever it is. There's definitely a measure of love that we need to give back to ourselves in order to heal whatever this desert is being represented by. Even if that is, again, taking ourselves out for something and allowing ourselves to have some fun. So whoever this message is for, I wish you the best of luck with this. And if it resonates for you, please hit that like button. And until next time.